Let's take a break. Just right out of the gate. I guess we tire out real quick or something. We're going to have to take a break right out of the gate here and hear from our sponsors, First Bank and
Kincaid
Service
Company.
We'll be right back.
Kincaid Service Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street.
All righty, welcome back into Bedford County Sports Talk Live. We've got some high school sports to talk about. Bill, you got some scores for us?
Yeah, we'll start with Shelbyville. Of course, last weekend they played Community 14-0. That was after our show.
No, we're talking about baseball.
It was not. It was baseball, wasn't football.
Okay, all right.
And I know it wasn't softball, not big community like that.
No. But anyway, another big district week. Coffee County started off rough, 8-3. We're in an 0-3 hole. Come back the next night though. Stephen Bobo has 12 strikeouts. We beat Coffee County 9-1. That was huge to get a region win. And then yesterday, Shelbyville beat Sequatchie County 3-1, and they beat Chattanooga Whitwell 13-3. Shelbyville is 13-5 on the season, 1-3 in the district. Softball. Tell us a softball story for Shelbyville.
Last night I got a late call, and I went and called the Shelbyville Cornersville game. Shelbyville has drastically improved. Tremendous. They got beat last night 7-4, but some of the shots that they hit were right at the Cornersville girls, but they have really improved. And I told Coach Sean that they had made a whole lot of progress, but they did. They were on the short end of the stick, 7-4, but it was a really close ball game all the way through. A few errors here and there, and that was the difference of the game.
Shelbyville boys baseball today is at Marion County. They're in a tournament in East Tennessee. They play Marion County at noon, and at 2:15 they play the Tennessee Monarchs. So 2 more games for Shelbyville in the doubleheader today.
Let's talk about the Tennessee Monarchs. Who are the Tennessee Monarchs, Bill?
Robbie Davis told us all about that.
I know it. I forgot. Do we want to refresh our memory?
That's homeschool kids. Just
Right.
come in from.
And they're pretty good. I mean,
They're up and down. They're up and down.
I think it's pretty neat though that they can organize to do
Yeah,
that.
me too.
I mean, how do you got kids just all over the place?
In the Riverdale tournament the other day, I had a team they called the Lady Knights, and they're basically the same thing. They're a homeschool team, and they're also get kids off of they get players from high schools that don't actually make their high school softball team or
Right.
don't go out for the high
That's
school
pretty
softball.
neat. Yeah, that's good.
And they weren't very good, but that's what they did. They had some really good players.
you got any breaking news, music, or anything, David?
No, I don't. Why?
Get Jason to Twitter up something. Breaking news. We got
Twitter
breaking news,
phone.
y'all. Y'all ready for this?
What's our breaking news?
William Bobo. Congratulations to John T. and Janice Bobo and Todd and Cynthia Bobo. William Bobo has signed with Austin Peay. And he's at the spring game today, and he will be playing college football this fall.
Great.
That's
You want to
great
find a finer young man, and I think he's going to play there.
That
I do too.
will help Austin Peay.
Yes,
Ain't no doubt about
Austin Peay got a gym.
they really did.
They
What
did.
blows my mind is it went this long before somebody. I mean, he just slipped through the cracks because he's a ball. He's a player.
I've heard these coaches talking. It's hard now to get kids to sign, because the NIL, like we were talking about, they don't do a whole lot of recruiting anymore. They get some, and it's hard. If a kid gets a chance, they better ink it wherever it is.
Well, I think it finally took William say, "Hey, I want to play football."
Sure,
Right.
You know, and take matters into his own. Hey, I want to play some football. And after these coaches see what he's got on his videos, oh man,
Right.
where'd you
Who is this
come
guy?
from?
Right.
You know,
And it
And-
sounds
and-
like he played wide receiver and defensive back, but it looks like they're wanting him to play more safety defensive
Right.
back.
And here's the thing: he has a good year or two. He won't be at Austin P. Long.
No.
Right.
He'll be somewhere else.
Here's what I'm thinking, guys.
That's why they recruit
and
now.
this because of this NIL and transfer portal stuff. You got all these college coaches focusing on that, and now the high school athletes. I think your high school athletic programs are going to have to step up in a bigger way to get these kids exposure and say, "Hey, knock on some doors," because used to the colleges were coming and they were visiting more. You see that coming after the top tier, and that's it. But these other kids that they don't get the headlines, but they're every bit as good.
Well, it's. I agree with 100% of what you're saying, but it's like you getting your first job. You got to get in the door.
Yeah.
So you sign somewhere, get in the door, show that you can do this, and then they will recruit. More of the bigger programs now recruit colleges instead of recruiting high schools.
Makes it easier on that coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think you're going to start seeing high school programs start to have. I'm not saying like a guidance counselor, but somebody that connects these kids with colleges. I mean, I think you're going to start seeing it shift.
Yeah,
I think so. I mean, you look at the Dobbs kid from Fayetteville. Years ago, had that talent been sitting, I mean, his talent, leading the district and, with Robert, I mean, there's going to be some big time colleges in Fayetteville, Tennessee watching him play. It ain't happening now.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad to see, but these kids it's going to have to change the way these kids get into college.
Coach Dryden and I were talking outside after the show last week, just me and him. We were talking about how at some point it might be time for junior colleges are not permitted to play football in Tennessee. It might be time to rethink that one.
What's the alternative? What would
you could have? You could have Motlow have a football team in Hawaii,
but there's something out there that says you can't have.
You cannot.
In Tennessee, there's a I don't know where I don't know if it's state legislature where it is. They do not promote and accept junior college football in Tennessee.
Okay, well that's stupid.
Mississippi's full of it.
Yeah, go check Mississippi.
Yeah, and a lot of them, that's where they have to go. And then in Mississippi, to go into the junior college, they don't accept many out of state players.
Yeah,
because they
want to cultivate those kids.
They want their Mississippi kids.
Due to the Hope Scholarship with junior colleges, it's not going to be as expensive for them to do it now because you got the Hope Scholarship. I don't have to give you an athletic when you're playing football.
Well, our state legislature needs to reevaluate that situation. They could have a league, just like what Mississippi does.
Sure.
Well, if you're going to tell us we got to have a transfer portal, at least you could do is maybe tell us we can play football in junior high or junior college, rather.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you're going to get involved that way, let's get involved the other way.
Yeah, I think. But it's changing. I mean, it's good. Congratulations, William.
Great.
Yep.
That's good news.
You're going to do well there and excel wherever you go.
Cascade. Baseball, last week's tournament, the Viking Classic, they beat Newton Falls, Ohio 16-1. They beat Rocket City, Alabama 12-3, and they beat Huntland this week 10-4. And I didn't find a score in the Cascade Moore County game. If anybody's got that one, I couldn't find it anymore. So Cascade's getting stuff back rolling in baseball and softball. How do you not talk about those community girls?
Oh,
I hadn't seen them this year since preseason, but they're playing well.
They went down to Alabama and just swept it.
Yeah,
swept
in
that
the Gulf Shore.
Yeah, just swept it. They're
What I heard.
15-1. Beat Forest this week 3-0, and they beat Richland 4-2.
They beat Forest 3-0.
Yeah,
and beat Richland
4-2.
And both of those two teams
coming off that big tournament where they swept everybody in Alabama.
Both of those two teams have really good softball teams this year, Forest and Richland.
And
who was the one team that beat them?
It was Eagleville. They beat Eagleville once and lost to Eagleville once.
And
Eagleville 1-0 when they got beat.
Eagleville's got the pitcher that's going to Ole Miss and the shortstop going to Arkansas.
So they're for real.
Yeah, they can play.
All right, this is an issue that we come up with every week, and even in basketball season when we're right in the middle of it. Now, football season not so much, but scores. Mm-hmm. I mean, where do you guys get your scores? I know Coach T. It's
the shovel Todd Bobo. I mean, I have to text him. Like, the community scores. Robbie Davis. I have to text him. Hey, Coach, give me a score.
So there's no outlet now for these scores.
There's outlets. The scores just aren't
not there. Okay, so
sometimes
what's the
Max
issue?
Prep. Sometimes they have scores.
They got them, yeah.
Then you'll see. What I do is I just say, I just do this. guys, if you want me to talk about it, you better send it to me.
Right. I'm not
You
talking
better
about just
send
for
it
that.
to
Let's
me.
just say that you're just looking for scores just to
Yeah,
see how another
just to
team
see
fared
how-
somewhere.
Right.
I know
if
when basketball is doing that, and like some of the basketball scores weren't even
Really
showing.
hard this year.
I get mine on Coach T.
Yeah, that's
where I
few
use
you-
it.
what few you can get.
I've got this app called ScoreStream,
Mhm.
which allows you to put your favorite teams in and pull up scores.
Mhm.
But it takes fans that are there at the
Right.
game to
Mhm.
account for it.
Mhm.
And I'm one of those guys, contributor, that you can put a score in. And I did it in football, but there's so many people doing that.
Right.
But other sports, the secondary sports, as we sometimes
Agree.
call them,
Yeah.
they just don't. They don't get the coverage.
Right.
And these kids, they're playing ball and their score's not even posted.
Right.
So
And basketball and baseball are not secondary sports;
no,
they're major
not.
sports.
Yeah, you would.
And
You
it's
would
hard to
think,
find.
but it's something that I think as parents that are there and people that are at the games, if you have access to somebody that can get a score reported, just do it. I mean, just don't sit back and say, well, somebody else is going to do it.
Right.
Just do it,
Right.
and it doesn't hurt to have 5 people.
You didn't
report.
bring up Shovel Soccer. Shovel Soccer's in Gulf Shores playing in a tournament this weekend.
What's
Good.
about Gulf Shores?
It's warm. It's warm, and everybody.
Man,
likes
it's
to go there.
85 here.
Good seafood.
It is
down
this
there.
year. It is
Yeah.
this year.
Wait till next week. too.
Yeah, wait till
Right. Yeah, like
the same
Sunday
way.
night.
The same way that Warrior Classic that I worked last week. Everything was Indiana, Illinois, Pennsylvania, because it's warm.
All right, with
Mention community real quick. Coach Robbie Davis got 2 big wins. He beat Cannon County twice this week, 6-2
Good.
and 5-4. So it's 2
All
good
right,
wins for the
great.
community boys in baseball.
all right, I know you got Webb down there too. Wind that up, and I want to talk about something real quick.
They played Middle Tennessee Christian this week and have a doubleheader. I think it's Monday and Tuesday both. That'll be big for them. They lost to Columbia Academy twice, 6-2 and 3-1.
All right, guys. High school sports is winding down here. We're going to see 2 or 3 more weeks.
High school
It's gonna-
school year is winding
Yeah,
down.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're fixing to wind down this part of our show, and just to get a look forward, when we come back in July, we're going to be running right into football.
Mhm.
Okay, with this transfer situation that the state has approved, how do you see the outlay of our football in this area with that transfer situation going?
Can't determine yet.
I know, but what do y'all think? I'm just
don't
asking
know.
for speculation.
I don't know.
I don't know yet.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to know
And,
soon.
and it depends on how. It depends on each school and how aggressive they want to be with it.
Yeah, I think we're going to see it in Bedford County.
It depends on the school and how aggressive they want to be with it.
I think that's the key word, aggressive.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if you've got, and I'm just going to open this can of worms up. We're sitting in Bedford County. We got 3 high schools plus Webb as a private school. You got Cascade, Sheville Central, and Community High School. Do we see any decks shuffled?
Sure,
I think we're going
you're
to.
going to.
Good.
I definitely think from Community and Cascade, you're going to probably see more than anywhere from just those 2.
Back
You,
and forth.
you could also
And
see
you know-
some people from Rutherford County come down here and start.
And
moving more, too.
I can say this: it may not happen, but we talk about Rutherford County and how Eagleville gets all the kids that don't get to play at the other schools. You could see that with Community and Cascade, possibly getting some kids from Central that's not going to get on the fields at Central.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you could see that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
And you could see vice versa. You could see some kids that at Cascade and Community that's saying, "Hey, I'm not getting the recognition
Right.
that I need to get here. I'm
I want
Okay,
to do it on
so-
a bigger stage.
So
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
this teaching our kids? I'm just throwing this question out as a broad question. What does this teach our kids?
Everybody gets a trophy."
Okay.
Have we been doing that for how long?
A long time.
A long
There you go.
time.
Too long.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really what it teaches them? Is
No,
that part
but
of it?
that's what they. That's what
I'm
they
just
do.
If you
asking
don't
y'all
like what
opinions.
you got, go somewhere else.
That's right. Yep.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Have it your way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Burger King.
All right.
That's
That
right.
sounds like a commercial,
Yeah,
but that's
yeah.
exactly what this is, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
don't like it.
No.
I don't either.
It's
I
old
don't
school.
either.
I just don't like it.
Hadn't liked it. Hadn't
Loyalty's
liked it
worth
before.
something.
Yeah.
Sure.
Loyalty's worth something,
I
in
agree.
my opinion.
It started in pro football.
Yeah.
It's trickled down to college, and what's that going to do? It's trickling down. To
There's a
high
line
school.
there, though, Kenny. Professional is you're doing it for a living. Okay.
Hey, college is now
I know that.
professional.
I know that. but
What'd
I'm
you
just
say?
saying-
Tennessee paid for the guard
1.6 million.
Exactly. So when we cross that line, it's trickled down now. It'll be in junior high before
but-
you know.
Yeah.
Hey,
or
right.
middle
There's
school, whatever we
NIL in
call it
high
now.
school.
I know.
Especially these private schools.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
They
happening.
dangle that carrot,
Sure.
and they're coming.
Mhm.
And I don't like it. I'm sorry.
No, I'm with you.
I'm
I
with
just
you.
don't like it.
I agree.
I mean, is it okay for us to say we don't like it?
Sure.
without being controversial. They
You
don't
know
like
what?
it.
It's okay for us to say it, but you know those people that make the decisions,
They don't care.
they don't care what we say.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. But they're our kids. That's
I
another
agree.
story. All
I
right,
agree.
Kenny, we got to take a break. And we're going to hear from First Bank, and we're going to hear from
Kincaid.
Service.
Company.
and
Let
Kenny
me-
Parker. I
let-
hear you got a bunch of dirty dishes over at the house.
Hey, let me tell you, I got off the ball field Tuesday night, and I get this text message from my wife. Our dishwashing machine has gone out. It's tore up. I said, well, I was expecting that. I said, get with Kincaid. So Wednesday, she goes to Kincaid, picks out the dishwasher she wants. They asked her, said, do you want it today or can you wait till tomorrow? She said, tomorrow's fine. The next day, I get a picture on my phone. Here it is, installed. And she said, they even took the other one off.
That's
There you
right.
go. It just vanished.
Hey, and when I get home, I didn't have to worry about any of that.
And you had clean dishes?
And I had clean dishes, and I had a new dishwasher, and on top of all of that, the best thing is I had a happy wife
Yep.
because she didn't have to deal with any of it, and it was done. And she got to pick out the dishwasher she wanted.
All right. And you wasn't even around, didn't interfere with
Wasn't
it.
in around. And then
All
she
right.
said, and then here's another thing she said: we got 1 year, no interest.
Oh, wow.
1
So
year,
free
no
money
interest.
for a year.
Free money. We pay on it for a year, no interest.
All right. That's
And,
a good deal.
Exactly.
You got to take advantage of that.
Sure enough.
All right. Well, let's hear from our sponsors. We'll be back talking some college sports, specifically Final Four. We'll be right back.
Kincaid Service Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street.
Should be the NCAA tournament.
All righty. Welcome back in here. We're going to talk some NCAA March Madness, but it's not March anymore, guys. But we're still playing March Madness out. We've got some big games coming up. Bill, I know you got previous scores, and let's talk about those scores in Tennessee.
Well, Tennessee was just, you could tell early in the game we were out athleted and it was bad, and we shot it poorly. We scored 15 points first half, get beat 69-50. But I'll say this for them, they didn't quit.
No.
They came and kept fighting. But when the other team's got 12 or 14 guys and you've got 7,
That's a difference.
it starts to catch up with you in a tournament where you don't have the depth.
The thing about it is you had 7 all year long. So
Yes.
you got 7 weary legs.
That's right.
You got
And then-
7 weary legs.
And then you're playing those games back to back to back. And it had they'd had a 2 or 3 day break, could have been a little different outcome.
May have been.
But you could tell when Lanier popped that first 3 up there and didn't draw iron, air ball,
Was it short?
air ball. All
Well,
their shots were short.
That's what's
And I
that
think
leg
Houston
mean? They don't
I
have
had
legs.
that, and Houston had a lot to do with it.
They
I
don't
think
have
every
legs.
Tennessee fan knew we're going to go out on a night when we don't shoot it well.
Yeah, that's it.
Here we go, 15 points and a half. And
And the other thing about Houston is how they board. They take the ball and they bat it. And they're so athletic that once it's batted, they get it. I couldn't tell you how many offensive rebounds
Yeah.
they got that way. And
And
they
we did.
they
dominated
were
the
better
paint.
than I
They
thought. They were
dominated the
definitely better
paint.
than I thought.
We did not get offensive rebounds on those threes.
No.
They were bouncing out, and they were blocking out on the perimeter and getting the rebounds, and you know they didn't press the ball. It was a slow paced game,
Yeah.
and they just ran out of gas basically.
The other interesting game was Texas Tech had Florida beat, guys. Had them beat up 12 with 3 minutes to go. It was like John Calipari was on the sidelines for Texas Tech as they just gave it away to Florida.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it because I kept thinking, Florida's beat. No, they're not.
here they are.
84-79, they came back and win. Now they're going to play Auburn today at 5 o'clock. They beat Michigan State 70-64. And Kenny was right. An SEC team's going to win today, and one's going to lose.
Well,
That's
unfortunately, same thing happened in the women's game.
Duke Houston will be
how
interesting.
many times has Florida and Auburn played this year, and what's been the outcome?
One time at
They've only
Auburn,
played
and
one
Florida
time?
won 90-81 at Auburn.
So that you mean they've only played one time? They didn't meet each other in the SEC
Yeah.
tournament. Wow.
Nope. 'Cause Tennessee beat Auburn and knocked them out of it.
So all 4
So
one seeds.
Who we got tonight? What do you think?
I'm still going with Florida. They've not played well, but I think I'm going to go with Florida over Auburn. I'm going to go with Duke over Houston. But I'm not so sure the Duke-Houston game isn't the game.
I agree 100% with everything you said. I think Florida wins tonight. I think Duke wins tonight.
Duke beats
And
Florida.
I think the Duke Houston winner wins.
I just hope that we're able to watch some of the game without the storms coming in and messing up, because we got some weather coming.
We'll be all right.
Let's
I
mention
think it's gonna
NIT
be better,
right down the road. We got a lot of kids here in Bedford County that go to Chattanooga. There's a lot of them. Larry Hardison's boys,
a lot
several
of
of them go down there.
kids go.
They won the NIT, guys, 85-84. And I had a chance to watch them beat MTSU in triple overtime, came back against Bradley. They were down 16. Really fun to watch. Great game, 85-84. They win the NIT.
Who did
And they
they?
played the UC Irvine, and guess what their nickname is? The Anteaters.
The Anteaters.
Wow.
The Mocs beat the Anteaters. That's an original name, isn't it?
They stomped them out, didn't they?
They sure did. All right. But Tennessee basketball, guys, is in a rebuild.
Yeah, they are.
Well, sure they are.
We've only got 4 players now.
Mhm.
We did get the Maryland point guard, Jacoby Myers, who played at Belmont before he went to Maryland.
Yep.
NIL number $1.6 million.
Tennessee guy, too. He's from
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
He's from Greenville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
I wonder how much more NIL money they got to
I'm sure the
round out
money's
the
plenty.
rest of their team. They
What's
gotta
the
have
salary cap?
They don't have one.
But they've got Amari Evans, a recruit coming in who's 6'5", a shooting guard from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Dwayne Brown, a 6'9" center from Hoover, Alabama, 245 pounds. He's a big boy. And Troy Henderson, a point guard from Richmond, Virginia. But this is a rebuild. But I'm going to tell y'all who's really got a rebuild. And it's Jason Boyette's basketball team up there at Vanderbilt. Did you see 7 of them hit the portal?
The men?
7 players for the men have hit the portal.
Here we go.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I'd say
Don't-
probably
don't
all
like it,
7.
head out,
I will go out on a limb and say probably all 7 of those entered Vanderbilt this last year from the portal.
Yes. Because I think that's the problem with the portal guy when you get him. He's going to go right back to it next time.
Yep. You get one from the portal, he plays for you a year, he goes somewhere else. Especially if you're like Vanderbilt and you turn it up and everybody sees you playing well, then you go to the portal and you, instead of getting 800,000, you get 1.1.
Like the Tennessee point guard. It's his
Yep.
third spot.
Sure
It's
enough.
his third time.
Yep.
It's his third spot.
Mhm.
But that's big to lose 7. Now 3 of them never really played, but 4 of them were contributors.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's that big Carney kid, the big 6'8",
Yeah.
big boy.
Yeah.
You know
He's in the
what?
portal.
You know why? He's gonna get more money.
He's looking for the money.
Mhm.
I think it's all about the money.
It's all.
Oh, I
about the
think so,
money,
too.
man. Yep.
Tennessee had a great year.
Sure
Coach
they did.
Barnes is
Sure
awesome
they
coach.
did.
There's no question.
Sure they did.
One of the best. that ever
You
come
can't
in
say they
college.
didn't have
No.
a great year
But
if they went to the
this-
Final 8.
No, but here's the topic I want to just bring up. You're a UT fan. I'm a UT fan. I'm not. My blood don't.
Right.
It's not orange, but I love UT,
It's crimson.
and I know
isn't it?
no, it's not. Well, I guess it is.
Technically,
But
right.
technically, yeah. But there's so many UT fans around here, diehard UT fans. After this year's football team, basketball, then you got baseball. Just the whole athletic program at UT is phenomenal. You look at it; it's top tier in the country. All right, are UT fans going to settle for Final Eights, top 10 finishes?
Well, they better, and I'll tell you why. Do you remember when Tennessee basketball was bad? I do.
Here's
I do.
Here's the answer to that. 5 years ago, they would have been extremely happy
Right.
to be there. Now that they've done that a couple of times, they're not going to be satisfied.
All right. Here's my question. Tennessee football coming up. I mean, I feel like it's going to be a down year.
Well, I've read that after spring practice, there's going to be a lot of kids leave Tennessee.
And there's going to be a lot of them come.
I
mean,
don't
it's just going to be
disagree.
this shuffling
I
of
don't
the deck.
disagree.
But
Yep.
I think it's going to be tough for UT to repeat what they did last year, and all the pressure's on that quarterback.
Mhm.
Okay, so how much pressure are we as fans going to put on him and expect him to win a national championship next year? I don't think it's in the cards, guys. What do y'all see coming up? And
There's
this
a lot
is
more
way too
pressure
early.
in football than there is basketball.
Right.
That's just the way it is at Tennessee.
So
Especially,
how do y'all see, without knowing anything, how do y'all see that playing out? What if we do go like 6-6, 7-5, go to a bowl? What happens to the fan base? Is it like we've let up
at 6-6 or 7-5? I would be upset.
Yeah.
Well, the Cards are going to
think-
be playing that way. It looks like.
Well, it
Unless
could very well
we
be, but they should be close to double digits.
I think
Well,
the average
they should
Tennessee
be
fan,
close.
you can lose to Alabama or a Georgia. That's respectable. Most people do, but
But they don't want to lose to them.
you
so
don't.
that
You
ain't-
want to
that
beat
ain't-
those occasionally, and you
exactly.
got to beat those others
Mhm.
that you're supposed to beat.
You
Have y'all
gotta
looked at this coming year's schedule?
It's
8-4 would be a very good
Isn't
year.
it? Isn't
Yeah,
it?
will.
Isn't
Yes.
it? Isn't it the same as it was last year? Just flipped.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
In
Yeah,
the
but
SEC,
these-
you're playing the same ones. You just flip
Some home,
yeah.
home and away. That
Mhm.
changes the dynamics of that schedule big time in the SEC. And I think you're probably about right.
8-4 would be an outstanding
Yeah.
year, but for Tennessee fans, that's
so.
not
Here's
good
the
enough.
thing:
I'm going 9-3.
are the expectations though to be 11-1, 10-2, top
Make the
tier ball,
playoff,
make
that's
the
the
playoff?
expectation.
Yeah, I
I've
think
lived
so,
here
too.
all my life. The expectations that
I know.
Tennessee fans put on their players
I know.
is way
I'm with Bill.
too big.
Get in the playoffs and let it fall.
That's the
whatever
expectation.
happens. I agree.
That's the
Yeah.
expectation. But I don't think it's going to happen this
I
year.
don't see it either.
But is 8-4 terrible?
Not
How
in
many
the SEC
teams will take
anymore.
8-4 anywhere in
Right.
college football these days?
If you're in some of these other
Okay.
conferences, 8-4 is horrible.
Now,
But in the SEC, where you've
8-4 is
got
good.
Yeah.
about 10 teams that can beat anybody, 8-4 is pretty good.
now they might go 12-0 and go deep into the playoffs next year, depending on who they get through the transfer portal, how it all comes together. But the way it looks, I mean, just the way things stand right now, 8-4 will be a great year. Get a good bowl. Now, the
You know,
pressure.
the thing
and
is,
what
you-
happens to Heupel? Is he in trouble with
the-
the 8-4 season at Tennessee? I don't think so.
The word
either,
you
but
just
Back
To
to
my
back
opinion,
8-4s, he might do.
the word you just said right there is what nobody wants. Bowl.
Yeah.
Because with 12 teams making the playoffs, if you don't make the playoffs, that's when you, like Bill said, that's when it's a disappointing season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Well-
bowls don't mean as much anymore. I miss the days of the bowl game.
Yeah,
that was
I
the
do
best.
too.
I
I do
love
too.
the bowl
Yeah.
game.
yeah.
They're watered down.
But
now.
it's
I agree.
just something to think about as we go into next year. Watching that, I'm just I think that UT is a top tier athletic department in the nation.
Across the board. they're
Across
Across
the
the
board,
board, they
they're,
are.
they're,
They
they're
are. I
probably
mean, sure.
top 5.
right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I don't think an 8-4 football season or a 7-5 football season is going to destroy the athletic department.
But
So
here-
everybody needs to
The thing about it is,
get realistic
Yeah.
with
for
expectations.
most of the Tennessee fans or any other fans, other than football, most all that stuff, they don't care about the rest of the board.
Oh, I know.
They just care about
Yeah.
that.
That's right. Well, that's who you're for. That's who your team is.
Mhm.
All right, guys.
Tennessee fans get a chance. Go to YouTube and watch the Mike Keith show. He's doing it once a week. He had Josh Heupel on. He had Ziegler on the first episode. Last week's episode, he had on Tony Vitello, the baseball coach, and he had on John Gruden. Go to YouTube and check it out. That Gruden interview was awesome.
Yeah.
I
He's
didn't realize how close he came to taking the Tennessee
Yeah.
job. So get a chance, check it out.
Gruden is just awesome.
He is. It
Gruden
was just
is
wonderful
awesome.
listening to him talk and tell some of the stories he tells. It's worth a watch.
And I know it's kind of old news, but what a hire by the Vols.
Yes.
Getting
Yes.
Mike Keith.
I
And getting him away
started
from the
saying
Titans.
8-4 season with him
Yeah.
doing it is a win.
That's one of the best hires Tennessee's ever made.
Ever made. And now
Yeah.
your color
Yeah.
guy, Ramon from 104.5,
Yeah.
played
It's
at
gonna be a
Tennessee
good
as a color guy.
Yeah.
Didn't know he's Ron Slay's half brother.
Right. Yep. Same day.
So that was
It's a great story.
Jeff Swain's going to be the sideline reporter. Brent Hubbs. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a good.
Like
good
Kenny
team.
mentioned
Turn the
before
radio
the
back
show,
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's tough for the Titans though to lose Mike
Oh,
Keith, who's
God,
the
it's
best.
tough. Who's coming in for them?
The rumor is it's a guy that does golf. But whoever comes in, it's like replacing John Ward.
I'm
I know.
telling you,
You're
that-
replacing
exactly.
Bear Bryant, replacing Nick Saban. You're not going to win that one.
No.
Yeah,
It's going to be rough.
It's going to be rough.
I mean, Mike Keith is probably considered by the NFL to be one of their top.
Oh,
Yeah,
he was the top announcer.
Exactly.
You're right.
The top one.
Exactly.
Well, guys, let's take another break, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk some pro football. And
Do we have to?
yeah, we got to because we said we were, and we're going to talk some. We got a little special.
Yeah, we do.
Another little special top 5 list
We do.
this week, and I think
Mhm.
Kenny's going to get to play in this one. He missed us last week, but we're going to come right back after we hear from our sponsors, First Bank, and
Kincaid.
Service.
Company.
we'll be right back.
Kincaid Service Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street.
All righty, welcome back in here to Bedford County Sports Talk Live. Now we're going to talk some pro football. What's happening in Nashville, Bill? Oof.
I think
Anything happened this week?
the Titans are playing this draft pick up good. Everybody's got Cam as a sure lock.
Book it. When the owner flew up and met with Cam Ward, it is a sure deal. And when you didn't sign a quarterback and you got two guys,
They got a quarterback on their roster.
Those two guys can't play.
I'm not talking about those two guys. I'm talking about the returner.
Mayonnaise.
What are we going to do with him? Is he going to get just?
He will meet the fate Joe Milton just met. He's going to get traded.
Are we going to get a draft pick for him, though?
If Joe Milton can get a fifth, surely Levis gets
Bag
a
of chips. We might get a bag of chips.
A pick swap like this was because New England was going to cut Joe Milton.
Yeah,
Vrabel
he
was cutting him. And Dallas swaps a 5 for a 7. So basically, you moved from the 7th round to the 5th round for a guy you were fixing to cut.
That's fine. For a Patriot.
We
But I hope
laugh.
Dak Prescott doesn't get
We
hurt.
laugh. I'd take Joe Milton over Will Levis.
I don't know.
I don't
I don't know about
I'd
that.
take Joe Milton over Will
No,
Levis.
no. I'm going to tell you what. I think some of the things the Titans have done this year, and this is me, and I know you don't like it, but they're shoring up the offensive line.
That's good.
And I
Let's
think
stop right there because
that
that's it.
will help the rest of the team.
Defensively, you're worse. Your special teams guy comes in and cuts your place kicker, who's 96th percentile. Your punter's
your
awesome.
punter.
You cut that guy.
I'm not going
Your best
anywhere
receiver.
there, but
Your best receiver's gone.
I'm
Now you need corners. You have 0 edge rushers whatsoever. No wide receivers for this quarterback. If you do bring him in, how's he going to be successful with nobody to throw the ball to?
And I don't. Here's the thing, Bill. I don't think they're looking for next year. You can't look to turn this ship overnight and think you're going to be a Super Bowl contender next year.
No, but I don't want to
It
ruin a
ain't
young
happening.
quarterback either.
Well,
We've done that before.
Then set him and let him. But here's the deal. Don't think you're gonna do it. You can go out on the limb and get whoever you want, unlimited, and you ain't gonna turn it around.
No, but I'd like to have a veteran that could play to let the guys sit.
It's gonna take some time, and
Tim Bull, Brandon Allen, not going to cut it.
but
You don't think
I
so?
really thought we were going to get Kirk Cousins. That was the guy I always thought we were going to get.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to get a backup, the Chargers signed him yesterday. Trey Lance, just for a backup, would be a lot better than Brandon Allen, Tim Bull. My goodness.
here's this ain't all quit yet. It ain't all over yet.
It is.
It's not all.
This
over
has been the
yet.
most depressing offseason I have ever had.
Hey, you know,
It-
Bill,
it-
you and I were
It's
talking.
not all
on the
over yet.
We were talking on the phone last week, and I just asked you, are they broke?
Yeah.
It's not over yet.
Because it does appear that the Titans have a cash flow problem, maybe. By
Yes.
some of these moves that they're doing.
1-year deals for a guy that's on his way out the door or been out the door, and they snatch him back in just to have somebody in a uniform.
If you're
It don't
interviewing down here at the
sound right.
Winter Circle, David, and somebody comes to you, and I've had 6 jobs in 6 years, was that the kind of person you want to hire at the Winter Circle?
No, sir.
Okay, in football, if Kenny comes to me, Kenny's played for 6 teams in 6 years, probably something wrong with Kenny. It's no different. You're interviewing for a job.
I'm in the NIL portal.
But there's a pattern with these free agencies. Multiple teams.
I'm getting better every year.
Multiple.
All right, let's talk. It seems like the topic this year is on quarterback. For
I don't think it is.
Well,
I don't-
we've been talking
And
about it.
here's my thing with Tennessee. The surest thing, and we've all said that, You're right. If they pick, it's going to be Cam Ward. But the one that can help their team the most, if you want to help them the most next year, is Bryce Hunter,
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you got offense or defense. He can help you with either one. If I'm gonna have to use my first pick, I want a sure thing. And you get a lot of people say, well, what is a sure number one draft pick? Somebody that you're going to give a second round, that you are going to
give a second contract
to.
All right. Well, I was taking us into a segue here about quarterbacks because we got a big list to go over, top 5 picks for all time. But you got some other news.
Well,
that were
the two things. The Cardinals made Trey McBride the highest paid tight end in NFL history. 4 years, $76 million. That's huge for tight ends. Geno Smith got another deal from the Raiders. But the Seahawks may have gotten worse. As bad as the Titans offseason has been, Seattle's may be worse.
Does that mean you're moving to Seattle?
I don't know what they're doing. It's crazy. They let DK Metcalf go for nothing. But the other thing was it was tabled, but it appears the tush push is getting banned.
Yeah.
Dale is against it. I understand, they're going to, and really, Kenny, it should be up until 2004, whenever it was, you cannot push other players like that.
I think any time you aid a runner, it ought to be. I was thinking about this. What should happen if Kenny's there and the defenders hit him and stop him, and then these offensive linemen or anybody starts coming to push, or you got somebody in front of him that's holding him up while others are pushing? I think there needs to be a flag thrown right at the spot.
Yep. And
you either mark it down right there where that flag is, or penalize them 5 years. In the old pro, I brought this up a few times ago, going back to the Ice Bowl when Bart Starr quarterback sneaked in against Dallas. The play was not a quarterback sneak. The play was a dive to the fullback. Well, Bart improvised that because they wasn't getting footage. So the fullback didn't know it. So dive quarterback sneak, he's quarterback sneak, and the fullback's thinking he's going to get the handoff, but when he sees that, momentum's going. He jumps in the air and throws his hands up in the air because he didn't want the officials thinking that he was pushing Bart because it would have been a penalty. Right. And I think it needs to go back to that.
And when your forward progress is stopped, that's when the whistle should be blown. You shouldn't just sit here for another 10 seconds and keep going.
And there's no one.
But they need a first down.
I don't care if it's Earl Campbell who had the big. There is no one player that's going to move 5 defensive players 3 yards down the field. It needs to be stopped.
And you do not let defensive, you can't run a double team on the center. The NFL doesn't allow it. And what if on defense we started pushing people? They would call a flag for that.
What happened if
I can tell I'm in a minority on this.
Yes. If the offensive player gets hit and 4 or 5 defensive players go pushing him and keep pushing him and keep pushing him.
I always thought it was against the rules until recently.
You never allowed it. Always has been.
What about you? Because it sounds like
they're like violently against this.
I'm not against the tush push. I'm against the aid of the offensive player. It don't have to be the tush push.
Okay.
It don't have
the aid.
But the aid
I get it.
That's what I'm against.
Philadelphia is going to argue, well, that's teamwork.
They're going to say, learn how to stop it.
That's right.
Well, here's
if I can't do it on defense and you're allowed to do it on offense, that's not right.
But here's the thing with Philadelphia's argument. It's not against the rules right now, but it used to be against the rule, and I don't know the rule. I don't know when and why the rule changed.
I tell you what would stop this.
There's a lot of rules that we're going to find that's been changed this year that we're going to scratch our heads at, like the overtime rule.
Yep.
And there's a lot of rules that's going on.
What would change this whole thing, and you would see teams stop doing it, is a torn ACL. That will stop it.
Or concussions or whatever, but I don't think it will.
Well, here's the thing. What's next? is Josh Heupel going to get to going too fast? They're going to say, hold on now. This seems almost unfair.
Well,
They're going,
But
Well, you got defensive
just
players
gotta learn how
laying
to
down
stop
now
it.
to stop
yeah,
that.
you got that. You got that's
flop.
They flop.
the flop.
Yeah,
Act
all
like
right,
they're
flop.
hurt.
All
Yeah.
right, let's talk about quarterbacks since that's the way we're going to end our show today. In the draft, there's been 3 names come up quarterback wise.
Mhm.
And of course, Shadur Sanders is
Is
popping
falling.
his chest and saying, I'm
He's
the best.
falling.
I'm the
No, he's
greatest.
falling.
He's
I
falling
know,
like
I
a
know.
rock
It's
off a
like
cliff.
he's falling on
Yeah.
my totem
He's
pole
falling.
after some of his comments this week.
Yeah, he's
And then
falling.
Deion's coming out and saying he and Travis Hunter should be number 1 and number 2. And he didn't say which was which.
Deion's going to be a problem. for
Yeah,
whoever
Deion's a
drafts
problem for
him.
whoever. Okay, you got Shadur, you got Cam Ward, then you got Jackson Dart. That they say his is coming up.
Yep.
Outside of those 3, who else is in the draft that might surprise somebody?
The kid at Louisville.
The Louisville,
Okay.
the
Syracuse,
Louisville
McCord.
quarterback.
Syracuse, I like
Okay.
McCord.
What about the Texas?
I think he's going to be, but he's going to be a 3rd or 4th round pick, and that is what I'm talking about. I think he's going to be.
He's
good.
got the body for
Yeah.
sure.
I think, and he can play.
Yeah, he looks
He's
the part.
played against it. He can change, and if I'm the Titans, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going to secure to get better stuff to put around the quarterback instead of getting the quarterback and getting 2nd-tier material to put
Yeah.
around him.
All right. So what about Dylan Gabriel from Oregon? He's
I don't-
small.
I don't.
But
think,
has he got a chance
Nope.
anywhere?
I think his health issues.
Okay. All right.
If you'll think back when he was at Central Florida, that devastating knee
Yeah.
that he just blowed out, they didn't think he'd walk.
So your
again.
answer is no on
No.
that. All right.
Yeah.
So
No.
anybody else out there, a fringe player. So basically, we have a small group of quarterbacks this year, and not really.
I don't think he's going to pan out, but the Milroy guy's an interesting prospect
Yeah,
because
don't
he's
disagree.
such a good athlete.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, could he
Worst
come in?
quarterback at work out I
I
ever saw.
know. I mean,
Worst
he's
one. He
yeah.
was
He's not very good at throwing it, but
He's fast.
he's a
Can you-
he's a field day. He's a guy with all the blue ribbons around his neck. Though he's going to win everything. I mean,
Okay.
you know, he's
There's room for an athlete like that in the NFL.
yeah, I know.
A receiver.
Right.
I mean,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
throw the ball to
Listen,
him. Can he
yeah.
catch it?
Yeah.
Tennessee's got one. The young man that built mayonnaise guy, he's the same way. He's an athlete.
Nah, he ain't no
But
field
he-
guy. There, he can't find the field.
He's an athlete. I think he can play another position,
Maybe he could,
but I don't think he
maybe
wants
for
to,
somebody
but
else.
I think he can.
Right.
Well,
Maybe
and
somewhere
that
else.
might
Yeah.
be that
Yeah.
might be
Please.
the case.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, somewhere
all
else.
right. Okay.
Malik Willis was the same way.
Top 5 quarterbacks during the Super Bowl era, greatest of all time.
Let's
5.
do this a little different than you did last week.
What?
You do your one, I'll do my one.
Okay,
and
number
Bill does
one.
his one.
Number 1 for me, and I wasn't a fan when he was playing, but Tom Brady, number 1.
I'm same way.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, I guess you have to go with him for all the Super Bowls. I
And
don't
it's
think
peer
he's-
pressure too, you know.
Yeah.
And
I
he won
think-
Super Bowls with 2
I know, he's
franchises.
good. I mean,
And the thing he could take little or nothing and change the plays and all that. I'm saying I think that's
well, the thing about
unanimous.
Tom Brady is he took less money,
sure
built a team up around him.
Exactly.
Where
did.
Peyton took all the money.
Right. Isn't that what I just
Yeah.
was referring
I don't
to?
think there's anybody who wouldn't have drafted Peyton Manning before Tom Brady. Though, if you were
Well,
doing it again right now,
Well, what
You know,
draft was
but-
what was Tom Brady?
I'm talking about if you
7th
could
round, 6th,
redraft
7th
him
round,
now, though.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Peyton
All right.
Manning was
All right,
the most talented player. I
Number
think.
2,
Peyton Manning.
I'm same way.
Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
I-
Well,
no.
at this point,
Hey,
nobody can
I'm
argue
not,
either
I'm
way on
not
this.
saying Joe Montana wasn't a great quarterback, and I think he's in my top. He is definitely in my top 5.
Right.
But I think he was the product of his coach, because when Joe Montana
He was
left,
Mr. Clutch, baby.
when Joe Montana left, Steve Young came in and put in the same kind of numbers.
But I tell you what, you go back and look at his Notre Dame career, he's a dadgum winner.
And that
He's a
did
winner.
not did not
Nah,
say
Look
that.
how
well.
bad the Niners were before Montana.
And
Yeah.
and Steve Young was the same way.
Hey, come right behind him.
Mhm.
He watched. And Steve Young could be put in the top 20 greatest quarterbacks
Yep.
of all time. Probably.
Yeah, no doubt. He
All right, number 3.
I'm probably gonna go Marino, Dan Marino.
Joe Montana, 3.
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Mine was Peyton for number 3.
I got you.
All right. We can argue about all that, but I want to ask you why you picked Mahomes.
He's already been to 5 Super Bowls. He's won 3 already.
Okay. All right. We'll get there. All right. 4.
John Elway.
Montana.
Peyton Manning.
Terry Bradshaw.
I can't disagree.
I mean,
Four
you
Super
go
Bowls.
back, the numbers he had are completely different and not comparable to today's quarterback. But what he did with
Right.
the Super Bowls and the dynasty, I just had to pick him.
Right.
All right, number 5.
Mine's a toss up, and I know you guys are going to get me with this. And I'm going back to the early ages of the Super Bowl with Johnny Unitas and Bart Starr. I think
That's 2.
I know. I said I'm going back.
You tried to get a
but
bonus.
The big one between those two.
Unitas.
Okay.
Brett Favre. And the reason being,
I thought
he's the
about
first
that.
quarterback for 500 touchdowns in the league, 6,000 pass completions, 70,000 yards,
And how many
10,000 career
interceptions?
passes. Doesn't matter. This guy,
500,
3 MVPs,
3 or 400.
with 2 Super Bowls and won one. I still got to say Brett Favre.
I don't disagree. He's in my top 10.
All right. I went with Patrick Mahomes, number 5.
I went with Patrick Mahomes as well.
Yeah. I just, you look at the Super Bowls, and I know he's still playing and all that. He's got some more to go, guys.
Yeah.
He's got a lot
I
of
don't
time.
disagree
And
with
at
that.
the end
Yeah.
of his career, I think he's going to be.
He could be one.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
could be one.
Yeah.
Well,
He could be.
and here's the thing. What Mahomes has got going for him is what some of these early quarterbacks didn't have. The game has totally changed to offense and passing.
Yeah.
Where when some of these guys that we talked about,
Oh, yeah. We look at Namath. You look at some of these others. They didn't have the same type of game.
the running game was major big when Montana was playing, when Peyton was playing.
Speaking of the running game, next week we're going to do our top 5 greatest running
Nice.
backs of all time.
Was that the only one that had John Elway in the top 5?
Yes,
You
you
are,
were.
Wow.
Who had Marino? You had Marino.
I did.
You didn't
Oh,
have
I
Marino.
did not
He was
have
my
Marino.
number 6.
I had him. He was in my top 10.
Yeah,
And
I
I'll tell
wanted
you,
to.
Elway was in my
I
top
tell you
10.
who was up there close for me, and that was Drew Brees.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't forget about
Drew
him.
Brees.
He's
Troy
easily-
Aikman. Nobody
Yeah.
had him up there.
I
Hey,
agree.
you start listening to them. It's tough to
And I'm
pick
going
them.
to tell
I
you,
know it is. I
Bill
agree.
will give me on this right now, but I don't care. I think Aaron Rodgers is right there in that group.
He'll be in the top 10 before
I
it's
think
over,
him.
bro,
I think him
maybe.
and Brett Favre are right there with each other.
Well, guys, we need to wind things down. We've gone almost for 50 minutes this morning. There's probably people falling asleep on us. But thanks for
No,
watching.
there's
this
other
morning.
people going. You didn't talk about my quarterback.
I know
My
it.
quarterback was
Exactly.
you.
Well, guys, thanks for
Yeah.
watching. And again, thanks for our sponsors, First Bank. And
Kincaid.
Service.
Company.
we'll be back same time, same place.